I've been hiking in Tucson, Arizona for 15 years, and I would like to share one of my favorite local day hiking trails. Pontatoc Ridge, located in the foothills of the Santa Catalina Mountains. Let me tell you a little bit about it. First of all, it's got great views both of Pontatoc Canyon and the city of Tucson. There are a number of spots along the trail that are great for special portraits. From time to time, you can see Finger Rock peeking over the distant ridgeline. It's a moderately difficult hike, about 5 miles round trip, as it's an out-and-back trail with about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. There's no difficult scrambling unless you do the climb up to the mines, just a few spots where you might need to use your hands to navigate some big rocks. This trail really shines with its variety of desert plants. You'll see tons of the iconic saguaro cacti, but it also has an impressive selection of members of the agave family and some unique stands of teddy bear cholla. In spring, you can see lots of desert lavender and incredible drifts of rosary baby bonnet shrubs. If you're a rockhound, keep your eye out for some nice specimens of mica. There's explorable mine caves if you make it all the way to the end and can manage the scramble, but don't expect to find any gold or silver there. These mines were a bust. Pontatoc Ridge is easy to get to. It is conveniently located in the Catalina foothills, so you can take an Uber or Lyft there if you don't want to drive, as there is good cell service at the trailhead. There's a big parking lot, but go early to avoid the crowds, especially on weekends. Put Finger Rock Trailhead into Google or Apple Maps if you need directions. No permit or fee is required for the hike. You almost never have to worry about getting your feet wet on this hike. There is only one spot at the bottom of the canyon that I've ever seen water flow, and that only happens a couple of days out of the year. Navigating is easy. There are only 2 well-marked trail junctions. No dogs are allowed on this trail, as much of it is in a wilderness area, and I have been seeing scat from desert bighorn sheep on the trail lately, and the sheep and dogs just don't mix. If you go in the warmer months, this is a great trail for an early start because the ridge keeps you in shade until about 10 o'clock. It's a nice warm afternoon hike during the winter once the sun pops up over the ridge. Okay, let's get to the trailhead. You'll drive down Sunrise, then turn onto East Skyline Drive. Turn onto Alvernon. There should be a sign pointing to the trailhead at the turn. Drive up Alvernon almost to the end, and the parking lot will be on the left. After parking your car, you'll have just a few minutes walk on the road to the trailhead. After just a couple minutes climbing up the hill, you'll come to the first fork of the trail. The popular Finger Rock Trail goes to the left, and you want to go right on the Pontatoc Trail number 410. You'll parallel the park boundary for a while before you veer a bit to the north. This is where you will start to see the stunning baby bonnets and desert lavender in the spring. About 2/3 of a mile into the hike, you'll descend into the canyon bottom at the low point of the hike. From this point, it will be all uphill until you reach the turnaround point. As you climb up out of the canyon, you'll come to a bit of a sketchy spot where the trail skirts the edge of the canyon. It's a beautiful view, but if you have an issue with heights, I suggest you don't peek over the edge. In just about a quarter mile of fairly steep uphill, you'll come to the second fork. It's well marked, and you want to go right or south to stay on the Pontatoc Ridge Trail, number 411. This is a good spot to take a breather, have a sip of water, and enjoy the views behind you. Those big rocks on the left make pretty good sitting spots. You should reach the 1 mile mark on a fairly level portion of the trail, and there's a nice view behind you of Finger Rock Ridge. A short jaunt from there and you'll reach the first magnificent overlook. Walk out to the massive rock ledge, have a snack or sip of water, and enjoy the view of the Tucson Basin. This is a great spot for pictures, with tons of space on the ledge for large groups. Return to the trail and you'll begin another of the steeper sections of trail. There's one spot here with some social trails that confuses me every time about which way to go. Take your time and scout out the main trail that continues on. You should be starting to see some nice members of the agave family. Look for the sotol, used to make mezcal, and shin daggers that deserve their name. At about the 1.3 mile mark, you'll come to a huge teddy bear cholla forest. If the sun is low in the sky, you can get some great backlit shots of the cacti, but careful to not get too close and touch them, as the spines are incredibly sharp. Shortly after the cholla forest, you'll come to a rocky part of the path that can be a bit confusing, because there's no apparent trail on the solid rock. Look for cairns, and eventually the path will become apparent again. After you get to the top of this rocky section, keep an eye out for another magnificent overlook on your left. It's a great spot for photos. Shortly before you get to the end of the trail, you'll see an unsigned fork in the trail. Bear left because the trail to the right is very steep and takes you up towards the peak. Shortly after the fork, there's some nice views behind you of the canyon and the Pontatoc Trail you didn't take. A few steps after this trail fork and you'll start to see the mine caves up on the rock walls. When you see them, you know you're almost there. At the end of the trail, there will be a sign. You definitely want to take a rest, have a snack and water break here, and snap a few photos of the expansive views. Okay, it's time to turn around and retrace your steps. The good news is the views are magnificent on the descent, and of course your huffing and puffing will be replaced by complaining about your sore knees from taking the big steps down on this boulder-strewn trail. Every time I hike the Pontatoc Ridge Trail, I ask myself why I don't come here more often. Hike it once, and you'll feel the same way. Hope you enjoyed this video. Happy trails to you!